gentlemen, welcome back to Those Two Geeks. He's Alex, I'm Joe. It's Saturday, and it's June. And that's about all you're going to get out of us. No. But there's quite a bit to talk about, actually, today. But neither of us are, we're both battling a little bit of something. Like, I got a little bit of a growly throat, and Alex has got something coming on. But nevertheless, we were going to be here. And there's quite a few topics to talk about. So I think we'll just start with our favorite one. We'll start with toys. And we'll start with the HasLab G.I. Joe classified Dragonfly that was announced this week. And wow, it is trucking along. I mean, it's not smashing through the goals. That's the difference on this time. But this thing funded very close to 24 hours. I think it funded in 26 hours.
Yeah, it's at 1,225-ish backers right now. And there's still a month left to go. And I don't know what the stretch goals are.
So the stretch goal is 13,000 for the next one.
So I think it will definitely get that.
Yeah, I suspect it'll hit that this weekend.
Yeah.
It's now, like, it was rapid succession when it was announced on Monday. I mean, this thing just rocketed. Like, by the end of the stream,
it was
which
almost
was
there.
I think it was only about 10 minutes.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Like, I think what's fun is that looking at the pictures, you actually see it in hand. So there's, like, the guy there whose name I don't know. Yeah, so Lenny is there. You see it in hand. Obviously, it's not painted, but everything is there in hand. Yeah, so like you get it, right? Like you get an idea as to how big it's going to be, and then you get the renders after that, which I think is the way to go.
Yeah, and it's the size of the Razor Crest in length, but maybe a little bit bigger. It's actually a little bit bigger than the Razor Crest. Put it this way, it's longer than laying Galactus down horizontally.
Didn't know that.
It's long because Galactus is 32 inches. This is like 34, 35. Yeah, it's longer than Galactus. When you put it in that perspective,
I know we've done this ad nauseum. Like we've gone over why we thought the one HasLab fails, one doesn't go through. You know what the I don't know if it's because G.I. Joe has always been built more for vehicles. Like when I hear G.I. Joe, I think of things like, you know, like toy lines like Mask.
Yeah, of course.
Where, you know, like,
yeah, I remember Mask.
My cat just knocked over a whole bunch of toys. I can just hear it going. He's fine, whatever. They're not falling down that far. Like, you know, Mask, that kind of thing where vehicles are integral to it. And that's also what I remember with G.I. Joe. I mean, obviously I didn't have G.I. Joe.
I had a lot of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, like for me it wasn't a big thing growing up. But even now when I think about like the classic Joes, it's like the same, for me it's the same as the Star Wars vintage. Vehicles are an integral part of the toy line.
Absolutely.
I've never felt that way with a Marvel figure. Like vehicles very rarely actually came about, and if they did, they were like Wolverine's motorcycle that had claw arms on. You know, like they were clearly
vehicles. Like back in the Toy Biz days, you had like these weird like Spider-Mobiles and Wolverine's buggy. The only one that ever made sense was Punisher's War Van, which is the grail of that old Toy Biz collection.
Yeah, but then you get something like you know, like He-Man. You get Battle Cat, technically a vehicle.
You get the Road Ripper.
Right? You get all of these things that people would have had growing up, and it's a thing that they're used to getting. You get play sets with He-Man, you get play sets with G.I. Joe, to a lesser extent the vintage Star Wars, you know, like, but you've never had that with Thundercats, you never had that with Marvel Legends, and I think other than the odd motorcycle here and there, it's, you know, it just wasn't something that people are used to getting. And I don't know, man. Like, I think I've been trying to think about why Engine Inventions didn't do well, other than, you know, the whole, advertisement, attitude, stretch goals, all of those things.
That's it. That's why it didn't do well. Like, at the bottom line, at the end of the day, I'm getting really sick of the argument. Well, G.I. Joe is in-house, and they don't have to pay Hasbro's licensing fees to Marvel, and, all this. Fuck you with the Disney licensing fees.
While that is true,
it's a small portion,
it's true. It's the fact of the matter is that they chose something that
exactly
just wasn't a big enough draw.
Galactus funded. It smashed all the records.
The Sentinel funded.
If they pick the right project and they put the right work into it, it will fund. The problem is they got so desensitized to their audience, and you can see it now. Classified just keeps upping their game, not even with just the vehicles, but with the figures themselves. They've been pinless. They do, they have all kinds of stuff. They give you a ton of accessories every single release. The only thing they don't inexplicably give is their Todd McFarlane. They don't give you extra hands for some weird reason. They don't like to give extra hands with the classified, only very rarely. But what pisses me off is I get really sick of this argument. What basically happened was I'm not saying the Marvel team, because the team themselves are fans and they love this stuff. And I think we don't appreciate the Marvel team enough, because if I'm the Marvel team, now I'm getting furious, because you're damned if you do every single time people just shit on you. And it's not fair, because they do put a lot of work into what they do.
They do.
They put a lot of heart. But it's the Disney and Marvel branding, the people above them. Basically, the attitude is they're nerds. They'll buy everything. And the problem is now that's not true. And I see shit warming the pegs all the time. Before, Marvel Legends would not even stay on the shelves. It didn't even care if it was Spy Master. That was off the shelf because it was a Marvel Legend. Now, I see Emma every day when I go to Target. The only one I don't see is Cyclops. Very weird. I don't see Cyclops. I see Corsair. I see Emma.
I think Cyclops is almost like that version is classic enough that he can be fudged in anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas the others are like,
yeah, but I see the rest of the wave. I see Kid Omega. I see all that. G.I. Joe Classified in Target, I see one every time, if that. And it's usually like an army build. No, it's never an army builder. It's usually like Lieutenant Falcon or something or Cover Girl maybe. But I barely ever see Cobra anything on the shelves. Cobra sells. It sells immediately. It's because it's got that army building factor. And, but the other thing is, at the end of the day, HasLabs are crowdfunded projects. They're a really tough sell just to begin with. I think now we're out of the pandemic. We're out and about. We got things going on. I think people are starting to resent the fact of multi-billion-dollar corporations using Kickstarters.
And
it's upsetting. Yeah, of course. Kickstarters should be reserved for up and coming, what's it called? Prehistoric era, or Knights of the something, whatever. Small small projects that need to be funded by small things, or even Valorverse could do a Kickstarter because it's a small company. Bobby Valor or whatever, Bobby something he was from the Marvel team, and he created Valorverse. He's the guy who owns Valorverse is former Marvel Legends.
Didn't know that.
One of the top people in Marvel Legends, along with Dave Honor. And Dave Honor is helping, other people, Unparalleled Universe is helping him with his Odious project. I can't wait for Odious, because Odious is going to be like a mix of, he's going to be like a Mezco with plastic. So, I mean, I have his plushie. I have all that. I've been supporting him since day one, so I'll support him. But, those kind of things you need a Kickstarter for. They're not multi-billion-dollar corporations that can just chuck around money and be like, okay, yep. At the end of the day, if the HasLab fails, it hurts their bottom line, but it's just a bottom line.
I think it hurts their reputation more than it does the bottom line.
Yeah, that's what I feel. But I mean, at the end of the day, if a small project fails, it hurts their existence. It hurts the company as a whole.
Yep.
Hasbro is getting really cocky. I mean, they fucked up with Star Wars. They don't listen to their fan base. You can tell the difference in the streams. Like, Star Wars, they are the most disingenuous fucking streams. They are so ridiculous. I would fire everyone on those live streams. Every one of them. They are so fake. It's not even funny. I don't want to buy anything from them. They don't sell me anything. The product itself sells it, but they don't sell me anything. I look at them.
It sells in spite of them, not because of them.
Yeah. With G.I. Joe, Lenny is like a geek and a half for it. I didn't like Emily at first because, she's new and she doesn't know what's G.I. Joe, and that's my bias. But I'm starting to come around to Emily because, she's been around for now 2 years. And also, she's probably grown to like this shit by working on it. So, like, you can accept that. It's not somebody trying to be fake and know the things.
It's someone that's grown into the role as opposed to a fan that was hired. Maybe she was hired because of her skills, and then also learned the fandom, as opposed to a fan coming in not really knowing what's going on on the back end.
Right, and the thing is, like, she's not somebody they brought in from Nickelodeon on a stream who's like, I love G.I. Joe so much, it's my favorite thing. Serpentor. You don't know anything about G.I. Joe, you did shit. You just said Serpentor. Like, there's no such thing as Serpentor. It's Serpentor. Like, if you watch G.I. Joe, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, he mispronounced everything. He was some guy on Nickelodeon who was popular, and it's like, all right, we don't need this. I don't need a fake fan. Marvel is the exact opposite of that. They couldn't be more fans if it was you and me creating the toys. They're just given parameters that are very unfair. Marvel is told, here, repaint this, do this, do this, do this, do this, use this, use this, use this. Like, it's like they're giving like a toy box and they're told, make shit out of this, but this is all you get. And keep making shit out of this until there's nothing left. Where G.I. Joe, it's army builders, and it is reuse, but it's clever reuse. It's not.
I've never been against reuse in toys. I actually think it
makes sense.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of I actually find it genuinely fun when you get like my Masterverse collection. How many of this is reuse?
It's all reuse.
Yeah, like how much is reuse? Where does it come from? What figure has what? I have 2 cats in here, and they're both happy about it. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I've got. There's the reuse, everything like that. It's kind of interesting seeing how the puzzle fits together. Like, I've always enjoyed that. And I think that for a lot of us, for like reuse for, He-Man, that kind of stuff, like you kind of accept it and that's fine. But when it comes to Marvel Legends, they reuse bodies that have, like long expired. Like, you can still see things coming out on the Bucky Cat body occasionally. Whereas they've got something that's way better than that.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to get rid of that shit. No, that's the thing. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, sorry, Masterverse has been around a while, a few years now.
A couple of years.
And
3 years.
And you can see, like, the early He-Man, like the very first stuff that came out, it is, the bodies are clearly different enough from what is coming out now. Like, they've improved bits and pieces, but for the most part, it's very subtle.
Yeah. So 2 things. I finished your box yesterday. I showed you. Mm-hmm. I got you Man at Arms. You saw that picture, right?
I did. Yeah, I did. I'm so excited.
Now you don't need him. I got him. You're done now. Now it's going out in a couple weeks because this was a tight week.
So this is another question for. At this point, I don't think I've wrapped anything in your box.
You don't what? Wrapped anything?
I haven't wrapped anything. It's all in there though, but.
And that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if it's wrapped or not. I mean, I just happen to have a lot of wrapping paper, so it will be taken care of.
That is
your stuff's going to be wrapped. It's just not going to be wrapped fantastic because I'm a horrible wrapper.
Well, I'll probably do bits and pieces so that, anything that's a theme together will fit.
Yeah.
I've got one more thing coming for you that should be here hopefully somewhat soon.
Awesome. And then the other thing is, did you order Vicron?
Fuck no, I totally forgot. You sent me the link too.
Yeah, it's still up there.
Okay.
I skipped him. I was like, there's just too much. And with the turtle anxiety that just happened, like it exploded. I said, nope, I got to cut it. He's cool. He's definitely cool, and I figure he's more up your alley. So I hope you get him.
Yeah.
He's 35.
That's not bad, really.
Yeah, he's on there now. He was up there like Evil Lyn was up there. You know,
Yeah.
not the sorcerer, but the Supreme Evil Lyn from
Yes. I just feel like I think there's definitely things that people aren't super fond of. And
it's the
that's fine.
origins that don't last up there. So my Origins Grizzlor is on the way finally after ordering it a year ago. And the Origins the Princess something for the Snake women, for the Snake Men is going up in a couple weeks. And then there's 2 Snake Men exclusives that are going to go up for Origins. Those will sell out fast. Those are going to be just gone. And if they do a special Skeletor or something, that will be gone too. The Masterverse stuff tends to be able to stay up there, which is nice. It's nice to have a toy line that if you really want it, it's pretty readily available. You're not killing yourself to try to get it.
No, exactly. If you want bits and pieces here and there, you're able to do just that. You go, oh, that's cool. I will get that.
Yeah, I'm starting to see Shadow Weaver in the store now. I'm starting to see the rest of that wave. The one thing I haven't seen is New Adventures of He-Man Skeletor. I haven't seen that yet.
I think the New Adventures stuff is harder to get.
That would be hard. That would be very hard. I know when he comes out, it's an order online that day, or be in the store right when they unload him. It's going to be a tough thing.
I think eventually you'll see him around. So you said that you're starting to see the New Adventures of He-Man.
I am starting to see
around now too.
I saw 2 of them yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now rounding back to the Dragonfly, we did go off on a tangent, but that's okay. Rounding back to the Dragonfly, I think the reason this thing was insta-backed, one, people are so excited to have a vehicle face off against their Hiss. Yeah. 2, it's a 6-inch fucking helicopter. It's a 6-inch scale helicopter that you don't even have to use with G.I. Joes. Because this thing comes with it comes with decals that you can put them on or not. So you can have this be a regular Army helicopter. Or you could paint it like a gray or black. You could have it be a night helicopter, like a stealth. This thing could be shield. It could be so many things. And people want this stuff. And HasLab for G.I. Joe just get it. They put out the first 2. They can both be army builders. Yeah, it comes with Wild Bill, and it's not like a generic trooper. But besides Wild Bill, I think the other offerings, like Ripcord, Ripcord's a character. But if you put all his mask and everything, like his helmet and everything on, he's a generic pilot. Yeah. So if you get a bunch of these, you have multiple pilots. It's got LEDs, which, it's got everything that the HasLab Engine of Vengeance said was so difficult to do. And here's the thing. They give you the base offering. If this thing only funded with no stretch goals, they give you so much in the base offering that you're getting your money's worth.
I think that's the difference, is that you feel that what you're getting is worth the money.
Yeah. And the price is lower than the Hiss tank.
I think that's important too. You're not comparing it to the Engine of Vengeance in price, because that's a shit show, right?
Joke of a fucking price.
Whereas comparing it to the Hiss tank, because that's closer in truth into, they're both the same property, that sort of thing. So that makes sense if you're comparing it that way.
Yeah. The only thing I'm surprised that they didn't do an early bird. They would have smashed it day one. I'm surprised they didn't do an early bird. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. But they probably have strong offerings for the next few tiers, and maybe that's what it is.
I'm surprised that the second next tier hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah, it's only got 700 or 800 to go.
Yeah, it's not far.
But here's the thing, I think every HasLab is a learning process, and I think that all these teams are learning from each other. And the team that learned the best, unfortunately, right now is G.I. Joe. They're in the lead. They're the top dog. They've only had 2 HasLabs, and so far they're going to be rousing successes. Marvel had their first 2 HasLabs be insanely successes.
I think you actually learn more from a failure than you do from the success, right? And I think that's the difference, is that, like you said, Marvel learned that what they're putting out is going to fund. So they tried something that is a bit more left field in the Engine of Vengeance, and they realized that I think had you put out the 2 Ghost Riders, Ketch and
Yes.
Blaze, it would have been a different case.
Yeah.
But I think leading with Robbie Reyes, I like him, but I don't know enough about him that I was going to drop that much.
I think Robbie Reyes would have funded if the base offering was Ghost Rider and Robbie Reyes, him in his Ghost Rider form and his human form. The fact that you unlocked his human form behind a tier.
It wasn't even that. Initially, it was an early bird.
Right, which was a very ambitious tier to lock him behind.
Yeah.
And then what I think they shot themselves in the foot, and hopefully they don't do this with their upcoming one that's coming out in a couple of weeks. But what they shot themselves in the foot was they gave you characters that you have been clamoring and dying for in Mephisto, and you wanted in Goblin Queen, and they locked them behind a paywall. That made people fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And then they also, what they shot themselves in the foot was too, instead of holding their ground, which, they would have went down in a flaming blaze even worse. They kept shuffling and coming back going, oh, we heard you, so now we're going to give it to you at this number. So people are like, wait a minute. So now you're just screwing with us.
Yeah. So what else can I hold out for? Yeah.
And at the same time, we are told, oh, these things are coming out in box sets. So we got the Mojo box set. Oh, this is only how you're going to receive Mojo. And fucking people are finding Mojo loose in Target by itself. So people just have they don't have the trust in Marvel Legends, because they're like, if I order this Mephisto, I know damn well there's going to be like a Goblin Queen and Mephisto 2-pack. And then people are going to get pissed. And it's a plastic car. It's not a die-cast car. It's not an electronic car. It's not like Mattel killed them with the Mattel Creations Batmobile from the Batman. I love that thing. I have it in my room. I can't wait for the Mafex Batman to go in.
Oh, it looks so good.
It has lights. It's a remote control. It's heavy. It rubber tires. Has everything. And this thing was $100 and then $10 shipping. And it's the size of the Engine of Vengeance. They put them together. They were the same size. And it's almost the same model because it's a Charger. So people are like, oh, you just copied Mattel and you charged us $250 more on top of it. So, I mean, there was so many things that they should have known from Jump Street that thing was going to fail. When it didn't hit the early bird from Mephisto, they should have known, well, this is not working. So Dragonfly will fund. I mean, it's funded. Will it get all the tiers? Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to get at least 2 or 3 of them.
There's only 3.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was 4. Yeah, it's going to get at least 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I think it's going to get 2 of them. It's going to be a slow burn. Like, I think we'll get the first one. Ripcord will be by the end of this weekend. It'll probably be by tonight, I think. We'll get Ripcord.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. So it's gone up to 12,230 backers already since we've been talking.
12,230? See, that's a significant jump. When we were tracking the Engine of Vengeance, we were on a whole stream and it went up a 1 backer.
Yeah, we've been on 20 minutes and it's gone up 5.
So, yeah, it will go up. It will go up. You know what I mean? And we were on, like, one time we were on a day when it went up like 11 backers.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad.
And then we saw days after the announced stuff and it dropped 100.
Right. It was the first HasLab that people started dropping off.
Yeah.
And then it dropped like 5 and 600.
And I think what it was with that is especially when you've got the Dragonfly, people are like, I'm going to put my money on this instead. Because unfortunately, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for Hasbro, a lot of collectors like yourself double dip in HasLab, in G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends, a lot of the, multiple different things. So if you're running 2 HasLabs effectively at the same time,
very hard.
It's very hard.
Productive. It's stupid. I don't understand why Hasbro as a company does that. I think that's a very faulty way of doing things.
You want to do it at most once a quarter. Do a HasLab
once a quarter. Exactly. You have 4 major brands?
Yeah.
G.I. Joe, you have Marvel Legends, you have Star Wars, and you have what was the other one? Is it Power Rangers? G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends,
Transformers.
Star Wars. Transformers. Yeah, Power Rangers you don't really consider
No.
HasLab material. They do like the Zord project. And then they keep that about $170.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Transformers. You do them once a quarter where people's wallets have time to breathe. Because maybe not everyone collects all 4, but you sure as shit have people that collect at least 2 always.
Oh, yeah.
Always. I would say the 2 that people collect the most is Marvel Legends HasLab. I mean, Marvel Legends and G.I. Joe.
I agree.
They're the most cross-promotional.
And you've got 2 things basically at the same time, right? Like, you're better off doing G.I. Joe, Transformers, Legends, and then Star Wars.
Yeah. Like, Ghostbusters, you can't count. I don't know if you'll see another Ghostbusters HasLab because the Proton Pack was like a one-off dream engineering beautiful thing, and that thing has skyrocketed in price aftermarket. That thing will always maintain. And it was perfect. It was the perfect project. Whereas Marvel, they've got such a vast world for them to pull from. And they pulled out the Engine of Engines, which was too niche.
Mm-hmm.
If this is what I think would have funded the Engine of Engines, I think if you were like Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider form and regular form, all the offering that they gave you on paper, maybe a little bit more effects, maybe a few more extras and bells and whistles. And then I would have said that the, the price would have been $299. Okay. It's $50 less. It would have took some sting out of it. And then my first tier would have been Danny Ketch Ghost Rider.
See,
without the bike, just by himself.
Yeah, I think that had they done Robbie Reyes, and even with an alternate head and hands to make him into Ghost Rider or vice versa, so you can, you have that right at the front, so you don't have 2 different figures. You have like one figure that can be either or. I think that would have had a lot more goodwill than having Robbie Reyes locked behind the early bird paywall that didn't go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then you're like, we're going to add Robbie Reyes as this instead. Have that as the opening offering, and then say, if you get the early bird, we'll also give you another body for Robbie Reyes.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be, you're still getting Robbie Reyes' head. You're still getting, you'll get hands, but this time you'll get a repainted body that's going to be the same as Ghost Rider, but slightly different.
Yeah, the value has to be there from the beginning.
Yeah.
It has to be there. And it should have been all thematic, too. Like, Goblin Queen was only thrown in there because she's satanic. That's it.
You're trying to appeal to the X-Men crowd.
Yeah, she has nothing to do with Ghost Rider. The 4 figures I would have used is Danny Ketch, another retooled Johnny Blaze, Blackheart, and Mephisto.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have fucking sold, guaranteed. I guarantee you it would have sold. With $300 price tag, it would have sold. Not $350. No. $300, it would have sold. It would have absolutely sold. But this is like, the early bird's got to be like a serious early bird. You know what I mean? When you do them,
it's got to be worth it.
Like, look what happened with Mattel and the what's it called? The stage for WCW. The early bird was a fucking Hulk Hogan that you've had like 5 different times in that year, just with a different T-shirt from a WCW era. So you just got the same thing that you've always had. It didn't sell, and it was a $400 price tag. Yes, engineering-wise, that thing was worth it, I believe, because it had the lights, it had everything. It was heavy, it was modular.
Mm-hmm.
But you gave them 4 other figures that were absolute shit. No one wants Warrior in jeans. No one wanted Rey Mysterio when you get a ton of Rey Mysterios from WWE, Mattel. Like, we wanted Scott Steiner. That's why people were frothing. We wanted that DDP. That's iconic. But then you should have gave us like 4 other. You could have gave us Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. That would have really put it over. Like, if you gave us a 3-pack of the NWO, I mean, they didn't know what they were doing. And unfortunately, now we won't get the Rust Age. There's no way we'll get the Rust Age, because I don't think they'll be willing to take that risk again, unless it's like 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like they're gonna have to revisit what they're doing, because the figures that they had for the Nitro stage just weren't
Terrible
They
choices.
they weren't, you know, like you said, they weren't popular. And
No.
on top of that, like, unfortunately, you've got WCW Nitro. Nitro hasn't been around for, nearly 20 years?
Long time. Yeah.
So the people that would be into Nitro, yeah, they might be like around 40 or so, but you're cutting out an entire audience of kids that are like, oh, cool, look at the Raw stage. That might
Yeah.
do well because it's Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Nitro, like, I don't care about Nitro. I don't really care about that Rey Mysterio. Hulk Hogan, I've got him. Would be cool to get DDP and Scott Steiner, but I don't need the rest of them. Like, it
Because
doesn't.
they're going to come out anyway.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
With wrestling, they have to give you DDP and Scott Steiner. Yeah, they'll be in different decos and different ring attire, but you're getting them for sure. You've already got Rick Steiner coming out, so Scott Steiner's not far behind.
No,
He won't be in that star attire, but he'll be in different attire because that body is a complete retool for Scott Steiner. Those biceps alone, no one else has them. So, I mean, you have to. So it's just like, I think we're becoming wise to the crowdfunding thing. I think that's why Todd McFarlane hasn't done another Spawn Kickstarter. He realizes, I'm just going to put shit out in the main line. It's not going to be as detailed, but it's going to sell like crazy, because he was supposed to do a medieval Spawn to follow up the regular Spawn, and he never did. And what did he do? He just released a medieval Spawn in the Spawn line, and it's one of the top sellers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as, detailed as the Kickstarter would have been. I loved the Kickstarter. I still have my Kickstarter Spawn. I sold the other two. I sold the Art Deco one, the artist proof. I didn't need a white Spawn with, drawing.
Yeah,
on it.
if you don't need
And
it.
then I sold the other Spawn, not the classic. I sold the contemporary one because I just really hated the way the neck and it was like fixed in one position. It just didn't look like that. Cape killed it. Those chains are perfect, but that cape is just god awful. But as a centerpiece, as like an homage to the original Todd toys, and before they were McFarlane toys, yeah, I like it. I love it, and I love the boxing. I like the box that comes with it that you can reseal and all that. I mean, Todd McFarlane did it right, and it's still $180 for 3 figures, like 3 premium, insanely boxed, very presented well figures. Not fucking. So I guess we're keeping this a crowdfunding
Apparently
video.
so.
I mean, show today. So my other thing is the Dragonfly. It's funding. It's gonna hit. It might hit all the goals, but it's definitely gonna hit 2 of them for sure. I think people just wanted to get it funded and wanted to make sure that this thing was funding. And it's not that people aren't going to back it. It's that people are now like, okay, let me just take a breather. And, I don't have to rush to back this now. It's already being made. It's already
now that it's made, I can take a minute and
But here's the funny thing. This is what I don't understand. And it's just a thing with people ordering something. I don't get it. And HasLab does the best crowdfunding. They're my favorite crowdfunding because they don't charge you up front. So my thing is, you want this sucker, you freaking fund it day one. Put all your chips in, and now you got 42 days to come up with the funds. Don't fund it the last day. You got to pay for it that day. Why do these people do that? They're morons. Fund it immediately so you could see what you get, because also, if you fund it the last day, you can't back out, really. They charge you. Trust me, the clock hits 12. It charges you ASAP.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, 12, mine. Your money is now mine.
Yeah, so just fund it. And if you don't like it, oh, crap, that's not what I wanted. Let me dip.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know what it is? It's just people have that fear. Do they charge me? Do they charge me up front? No, they don't. They never will. But people just have that in their brain. Why? Because Mattel charges you up front, which I think is absolutely egregious. And that's another thing why the Nitro stage didn't fund. You got charged $400 that day to not know what the rest of the shit was.
Right.
So that's a thing too, that they got to change their model. But speaking of, the Dragonfly is excellent. It's got all these missile effects. It's got the shooting missile effect coming off the copter with the smoke. Like, I've never seen that. That is so cool. So you got, it gave you a stand right out the gate that
Mm-hmm.
you can, it's taller than the Hiss tank, so you can have it facing down or facing up, flying away.
And the
Like, it
fact that
gave you
they've got
everything you
that
want.
angle to it, right? Like, is
Yeah,
everything there that you need for
everything.
a post helicopter?
Every fucking thing you could want up front in your base offering.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest is just gravy, and you're just getting treats. Now, what I think is going to happen is, here's what I hope happens. I know people are saying that, Crazy Legs is probably going to be the next one. He might be. I'm hoping they do a redo of Scarlet, but in her like exosuit.
Yeah, and see,
That
I
was,
think
that would be
what
so
I like
nice.
about the helicopter is that you don't need anything more for the
Right.
helicopter itself.
No, exactly.
Right?
That's the thing too. They didn't screw with you and give you effects behind a paywall.
Mm-mm.
Because remember, that's what they did with the Sky Striker. That's what they did with the Hiss tank at first. You got effects. You got, the canopy
Yeah.
piece was tier 1. You got the missiles was tier 1, I think 1 in the canopy piece. But then they got wise and they're like, all right, let's give them 3 more figures.
Yeah.
And as soon as they gave them 3 more figures, boom, every figure it smashed. But the early bird, what made people grab the Hiss tank was the fact that the early bird was a not one of a kind, but a premium deco that you vote on that is only for your HasLab. You will not see it in a store. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a cheap repaint. You get to choose.
Yeah.
And I think that was amazing. Like, and they just knew what they were doing.
I think that premium deco for the early bird was worth more to people than the first tier.
Yeah.
Right? Because who gives a shit about, first tier I can get a bit more of the Hiss tank. Great. I'm happy I get it. But ultimately I backed it early. I committed early because
exactly.
So
yeah, we got the retro canopy versus the new canopy. Like, yay. And then they gave you the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander. That was like, everyone in the world has wanted that Cobra Commander. They just knew what they were doing. So I guess there's 2 things we can close on. We'll close on one more HasLab, and then I've got, another topic right after.
Yeah.
5 more minutes. So Marvel Legends, in the way I think about this, I laughed so hard when this thing was like 7,000, within the first 5 hours. I laughed so hard because I said, holy shit. If I'm the Marvel Legends team, I'm going, let's delay this fucking HasLab. Because if it's a giant man, like, even if the giant man's 36 inches, even if it's that, and you try to sell us a $300 giant man, it is going to be a spectacular failure. People are going to piss all over it.
I don't think you can justifiably sell a $300 giant man.
And I don't care what tiers you come up with.
Yeah.
I don't crap.
Because
you can't put lights on giant man.
No, and he cannot be as big as Galactus. He just can't.
No, and that's the thing. If you make him bigger than Galactus or as big, you ruin Galactus.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you a couple times that Galactus is the pinnacle of Marvel Legends. I think they hit their pinnacle. I don't know if they can top it. Now, people are like, oh, we could do a Fin Fang Foom. You've had a Fin Fang Foom Build-A-Figure that still holds up to this day that is so sought after. And yes, ironically, if you did a $300 Fin Fang Foom, it would be cheaper than going for that Build-A-Figure. But you would need Fin Fang Foom to be somewhere in between Galactus and Sentinel size. At least Sentinel size. He'd have to be Sentinel size. And your tiers would have to be insane. They can't just be Iron Man in a new armor. No, it would have to be like the Mandarin. It would have to be, characters.
And I don't know if there would be enough people willing to buy.
I don't know. So that's what I started thinking. What does Marvel have left for HasLabs? Truly that people will just buy. Galactus was the no-brainer, be-all, end-all of the Marvel universe. He's a universal world figure. If you have 200 Marvel Legends and you stand Galactus there, that's your centerpiece. That's your collection. Sentinel, if you're an X-Men collector and just an X-Men collector, that's your collection. He's an army builder. The Sentinel is an army builder. You can have 5 of them, and it makes sense. Whereas Galactus, you can only have 1, and that was what the genius of Galactus was. It showed you how bad people wanted Galactus. Because they weren't super impressed with the tiers. Like Frankie Ray Nova, people were happy. Silver Surfer, they're like, again. Morg really helped them. And then that Doom head was a freaking waste. No one cares about that thing. It holds pens somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Galactus funded because of FOMO. If you notice, Galactus, we didn't know if Galactus was going to fund. It was behind.
We didn't think it was. You and I both questioned whether it was going to fund coming into the last week because it still hadn't funded. Or like it was significantly late in the process and it hadn't funded.
And the reason it funded was FOMO. Was people said, okay, I want a Galactus. This is the best Galactus offering. It shits all over the Build-A-Figure. If we don't get this, maybe we'll never get a Galactus. I'll just fund. People only funded it for Galactus. They didn't give a shit about the tiers. They just wanted a Galactus in existence. And that's what they got. The Sentinel was much more a success because people wanted, it was the first HasLab period.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh my God, you can do this kind of thing? And so like you had Master Mold, Tri-Sentinel. Like, I mean, yeah, dude, it was a perfect storm. If they try to sell you a $300, even if they try to sell you a $250 Giant Man, it's not going to work. I don't care if that thing has a Giant Man size soft goods lab coat. That would be cool, but it's not going to work. Mm-mm. And if you give them a Giant Man size lab coat, you're just going to piss everybody off and they're going to say you can't give us regular soft goods. It's going to be Marvel Legends team is going to be way more scrutinized this HasLab than they were for Engine of Vengeance.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the Engine of Vengeance is the one that lost the goodwill. Now you're trying to get it back. Look what happened with Star Wars. They went with the Rancor, and then they double backed with the
Reva's
lightsaber. Yeah. Like, come on, tone deaf. So Marvel Legends, I'm rooting for them. I just think if it's a Giant Man, it's gonna. You also just had Scott Lang come out in the store for a Target exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think Giant Man's enough. Like, you can have a classic Avengers collection and be like, I got a regular size Ant-Man and I'm fine.
Yeah.
You don't need a giant size Ant-Man to say, or a Giant Man to be like, oh, this completes my Avengers collection. I must have it or I have no collection. It's not a world breaking collection.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's really not.
Honestly, if I was HasLab, but they won't do it because there's no way they'll be able to offer it under $500 or $700. But the one ace in the hole that they have that I know would fund immediately is the Blackbird. If they did it right.
I agree.
It's the one they've got. So now what if you're HasLab, I'm just dying to see, are they stupid enough to do a Giant Man? Because Rectangular leaked it and everything else he leaked this year has come? Or are they like, let's pivot. Let's do something that everyone else hasn't done. Let's do a diorama. Let's do a Danger.
I think a diorama is what is the way it should go. And
I think that's figures.
Yep. Just have a diorama with figures that you would never see.
Yeah.
Because
so
like I said, doing it right is the key to anything. I think if you start with a diorama, basic thing is, I don't know, like 100, 150 or so.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Yeah,
it's because I got two of them in here and he's kind of cranky about being in here. And then the little one is just trying to play and he does to play with them. Have a diorama for like $150 and then add the TSB accessory so you don't have a hugely expensive thing. Like, have a cheaper HasLab.
You can't
for a cheap HasLab.
You can't do Avengers Tower. You can't do like a full scale Avengers Tower. It'd be like $1,000. But what you can do is do the top of the tower.
Yeah.
And you can have like the Sky Cycle. You have Hawkeye Sky Cycle. You can have it be able to plug into things and have it like aerial.
Yeah.
Do a good size sky, an Avengers Tower that's like 25 inches or 26 inches, like the top of the tower.
You could do a Danger Room too.
Well, you can't because it's Earth's Mightiest is the
right.
But yeah, I would do the Danger Room in a heartbeat. You just don't add the Brood. I would do the Danger Room. And, but no, do the front of Avengers Tower with the A and then have like a lip for it. Like you can do a battle play set and then do it old school style where it's like hollowed out in the back or one of those clip open things where you open it up and then you have like the inside of Avengers Tower where it's like maybe they have a table where they can have like a war room or something like that at the top. Just something different because if they do a Giant Man, I can't see it. There's no way there's enough Giant Men fans out there to fucking fund that thing. There's just no way.
I don't think
if
so.
Robbie Reyes, Skulls and Flames sell always. And if that couldn't do it, if a car on fire couldn't do it, do not tell me a giant guy in a lab coat with smaller versions of himself is going to sell. It's just, I can't see it. There's no fucking way.
I don't see it either.
So, yeah, that's my soapbox. But the other thing is, before we wrap up, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a masterpiece. Anyone who hasn't seen it, go see it. It is so freaking brilliant. I'm telling you right now, it's got to be one of the best Spider-Man movies. I put it up there with No Way Home and Spider-Man 2. And I was like, is that recency bias? No, it's not recency bias. It's so damn good. The heart for Spider-Man in this movie. Like, you come out of the theater being like, Miles Morales is one of the richest characters they've made in the past 20 years. He's just so phenomenal.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
And Spider-Gwen. This is the Gwen I want to read about. This Gwen is just incredible. Like Matthew said, our, good friend Matthew Klein. You guys may have heard of him.
Author of
Crashing. Just had to name drop flex there. He adored it, and he said the same thing as I did. Within the first 10 minutes, well, it's like a 20-minute opener. It really is. But he's like, just give me a Spider-Gwen show. Give me a Spider-Woman show. I so second this right now because it's just incredible. Now, we have Batman. I mean, not Batman. The Flash. I call it Batman. It's Batman. I don't care. Batman featuring Ezra Miller. I don't care.
I keep seeing bad reviews for that, and I don't quite understand it.
What? Yeah. I haven't seen one. No shit. Send me them.
Yeah.
Because
I'll see if I can find it again. Yeah.
Okay. Everyone I've seen has said it's incredible. So yeah, you got The Flash next week. Transformers is out this week. I won't be able to make it. I want to see it, but it's one of those things that if I don't see it, I'm not fussed. I can see it on streaming.
Yeah, you can see it online, right? Like, you don't have to go to the theater to see it if you don't want to.
We got CM Punk coming back to next Saturday, 1 week from today. God, am I so excited. I am so excited. And I can't believe the match they're giving out the gate. CM Punk and FTR with Jay White and Samoa Joe.
I can't wait.
That's like a Wembley-style match.
I can't wait. I think that's
I'm excited,
fantastic.
but I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous.
I think they're probably putting him with FTR so he doesn't have to carry a full match. Because he'd be rusty, right?
Yeah, he's got to be rusty. He was rusty. Even the only time he wasn't rusty is his first match back against Darby Allin. I thought was incredible. I've rewatched it recently. I think it's one of his best matches in AEW is the Darby Allin match. The pacing was great. The match with Hangman Page was really, really good too.
Yeah.
And then he had a match, I think, with Dax at some point. He had good Bret Hart homage match, which was really good. Punk's had some great bangers, but he hasn't had like Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson style matches.
So for Forbidden Door, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. I cannot wait.
Oh my God, dude.
Like, that would be enough.
No,
that's enough to get
Will Ospreay. It's Okada versus Kenny Omega versus Ospreay. Yeah. Danielson and Okada. Oh my God. Man.
Oh, like those two matches alone are enough to get my get.
And I think we're gonna get Adam Cole versus MJF based upon the promo from Dynamite, which was great, by the way. That was, you know what? I realized that was MJF right there. There is a human being behind Maxwell Jacob Friedman. I finally understood. Because he clearly really, really idolizes Adam Cole. And
it was so much fun, that promo.
It was very apparent, but then he flipped it like a genius, and he was like, then this guy shows up. And he's right. He just turned all the fans' criticisms on Adam Cole. And it was great. And I think my worry is, though, you brought Adam Cole back to basically job him out to MJF in the second match. So they're going to have to get tricky with how Adam Cole loses, because I can't see Adam Cole beating him.
No, I think it's going to be like Ricky Starks, where Ricky he loses, but actually comes out of it looking stronger than he went in.
Looking really strong. Yeah. But I think MJF is just, when he says no one's on the level of the devil, it's very hard to argue with him, because in all honesty, he he has been just putting on a body of work that is just wow.
Mm-hmm.
He's been really, really killing it. He has been absolutely killing it. I mean, that Iron Man match, that made me the biggest believer. That was it. And then the Four Pillars match, you know, he just keeps carrying it. He is the best wrestler in that company. I have to say, he's the best wrestler in that company. Not technical wise. I mean, yeah, he's close technical wise, but the total package of a professional wrestler, MJF's the best in that company right now. I would have to say. And that's why I think you're going to get Punk versus MJF down the road, but I hope MJF beats him. Because if Phil's coming back just to get a title again, you know, I've seen there. We've been there, done that. You got the title twice. It's a sucky thing that you shattered yourself the day after each time. But we don't need you running the company with a title. We do need you in there having top tier talent. We do need your name. We do need you bringing excitement. You know, and if he has a problem when the roster is separated, like if he ends up with beef with this roster, then you know it's CM Punk and you just got to get rid of him. And say, okay,
exactly.
You know, but I do think it's the Elite. You can see the Elite. I like the Bucks. I really do. I think they're one of the best tag teams on the earth. FTR has finally overtaken them in my book for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it took forever. But you know, Kenny Omega is more in line to work with Punk down the road, I think. I think you'll get your Punk Omega match if Punk stays healthy. And that's all I want. So give me Punk versus Omega at Wembley. That would be amazing. That's my dream match. And if Punk falls to shit after that and he can't wrestle ever again, I got the one match that I've always wanted out of him. You know, I don't think you're going to get longevity out of him. You might get a year out of him. I don't see him being better than he ever was. I don't know. But we'll see.
We'll see, and I think that's what's exciting about it is that we've got a chunk of time left to see what he's got left to offer.
Yeah, there's so much more we could talk about. We could talk about it another time. That's what's great. We've always got something to talk about.
Exactly.
But I'm gonna let you go rest your voice. I'm gonna go hop along, start my day. I'm really glad we got to catch up, and I'm glad for everyone listening. It won't be this weekend, but next weekend I'll be on Dan Who with the Who Crew. For Legends and Liquor.
Nice.
I'm becoming a regular, which is fun. You should tune in sometime just to, watch. Cause like I have the office with the doors open in the back and, just kind of do my flex, let my toys speak for themselves. But, it's a good time. Also let's try the video for the next podcast next week.
Yeah. We'll see what we can do.
All right. I hope you feel better and everyone else take care. There's a lot to enjoy.
record button. It's picking up my audio. It's not recording on this one because I think I need a new track to it. But say if I wanted to.
Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.